Welcome back. During the last video, we got this floor pan put in and the cab corner. I'm gonna skip this one for now, and I'll tell you why here in a moment. But you can see the cab is a little bit off camber. I've got a couple more things to disconnect. The cab mounts in the back were in really good shape. So we just disconnected those, that's right here. And then you pull off these little covers here, and I just buzzed the bolts out of there. Everything was really good. No rust, it just slid right out, no problem. So here's the goal, and the plans have changed as they do with every project. So as I kind of talked about in the other video, I'm a little bit in over my head, and that in no way is me getting out of this. I am finishing this project. Unfortunately, it's gonna cost me a lot of money, a lot more than I anticipated, but it's okay. I'm committed and we're doing this thing. So the rust repair is pretty extensive. It's way out of my skill set. I could probably learn, but it's gonna take me way long, and it's probably not gonna look that good. If this was any other project, I really wouldn't be that worried about it, but I want this one perfect. This is probably not the right one to do a lot of learning on, but here we are. We're already in it. So unfortunately, it's gonna cost me some money, but at the end of the day, what does it really matter? So I've had T&S Customs come out to the shop a few weeks ago. They gave me a bid, and essentially what we're gonna do is I'm gonna restore the frame, which is what we're gonna do in this video. I'm gonna get the cab off and put on that cart over there. We determined that the truck bed was just way too far gone. I'll show you, I'll actually take you back over to where that bed is, but it was just so far beyond repair. It would have cost more money to fix all the rust than it would just to order all the panels and basically build a new truck bed from scratch. So I'll take you over there and we can see how that is. As you can see, I've already stored it on the side of the house here. I'm probably gonna take and cut this and then make some kind of cool desk out of it. But essentially when we got into it, you can see all this. We knew about this. We knew about this under here that was all rusted out. The whole front of the cab is all rusted out too. And then back here, this support member here, or whatever it's called, is also toast. And so the labor alone would have been more than just rebuilding a whole new bed from scratch, which is even better because then you don't have a bunch of repair and Bondo work and all that jazz. I know a lot of people are gonna ask right off the bat what it's gonna cost. So the color we've determined is, it's called Candy Brandywine, with a half and half gray and white base, and it looks really slick. I'm sure that's a lot of the cost is that fancy paint and everything and all the prep work, because it takes a lot of prep to make a candy look really good. It's gonna cost me about 25 grand. Hard pill to swallow for sure. Definitely not what I was expecting. I really expected to be in the whole thing altogether 20 grand, but it's just how it is. And this truck is sentimental, and it's just what we're gonna do, because my goal now is bumping up the timeline and having this thing totally done by summer of 2025. It sounds crazy, but in the next 4 weeks, I'm hoping to have the cab off and have the whole frame sandblasted, and then I will be using KBS, which is what T&S Customs had recommended, is using that KBS. It's a rust converter, kind of, but it's a rust blocker. Essentially, we'll get this all sandblasted. I'll probably take it and have it sandblasted. It's gonna cost me $300 or $400, and then we'll put that KBS on there after we prep it. All right, you can see I'm gonna attempt to move this thing back on my own, so we'll see how that goes. That was sketchy. I know you've probably never seen somebody do it like this, but I'm just one man, so this is what it is. And luckily, this is all being replaced on both sides, so it's like, who cares if it gets bent over and broken in half. So the plan is to lift the frame up that high. I took the wheels off so that the cab would clear it, and you can see there is clearance here. So the cab would clear it, and hopefully I can just lift this up one side at a time, nice and slow, and shimmy it up on the cart out of the way for now. I'm really hoping that we don't catch on camera this thing falling and cost me a ton of money. What? I'm fine. I'm really fine. I'm off. I'm already on the cart. I literally cannot believe that worked. And it's actually relatively sturdy. So it's not, hopefully it doesn't fall. I'll keep the door locked so the kids don't get in here. But this bad boy, I'm just gonna roll it on over here out of the way. Hopefully nobody hits a golf ball through the window. Let this frame down, put the wheels back on. And then, oh, wow. So that's gasoline coming out of the gas line there. Gravity fed, of course. My wife came out. She was watching me. There's a little camera like right there in my shop. And she was watching me. She came out, told me to call the neighbor, which of course is not available tonight. So we just figured it out how to do it ourselves today. So if you ever want to know how to take the cab off your truck by yourself, that's how you do it. So there you go. And now we get a really good look at the frame. I'll take the fuel cell out, gas tank, whatever you guys want to call it. Get that out of there, and I'll get all this crap out of here. This is for the e-brake. I'll send it off to powder coat, get all this stuff. I bought all brand new, what are these called? Cab bushings or whatever they're called. And then I'll clamp off the brake lines and then have them just sandblast everything. And then we'll come back, bring it back and KBS everything. But this is really exciting. I think I did this in the wrong order. I should have done these first, put a jack under there, but we're just gonna do it anyway. This is so my dad. So, I don't know if you can tell what that is, but those are old bike tubes. And I guarantee he's had those since I was a kid, because what if you ever needed an old bike tube? Well, there 20 years later, or 30 years later, he finally got to use them. But that is too funny. Luckily, a couple years ago, some lady ran into she pulled out in front of my other truck and totaled it. And I hadn't started work on this one yet. And so I actually drove this for about a month and a half while they were trying to figure out if it totaled, and ended up totaling until we got a new truck. But I parked it with very, very low fuel, which I am super, super happy I did that now. So I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I was going to take this angle here, flip it upside down, and basically build a bracket that's sort of shaped like this, that mounts along here for these. But I've determined that this thing is not going to be hauling heavy loads, probably ever. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill 2 holes, one right here, one right here, and that way I still have 4 bolts. And then I'll cut this here, and same thing over here, and then bevel it up so that it looks factory. Here's your sign to wear safety glasses. I was cutting the other side and this happened. Pretty crazy. And I almost never wear safety glasses, and I'm sure glad I did this time. All right, now you can see kind of what the goal was here. So I chopped that off with the cutoff wheel, and then we just kind of beveled it out. I think once we get those bolts in, it's gonna look way more natural. And worst case scenario, I guess if it's really not strong enough for whatever we're doing, I can come in and guess at that or do whatever we need to strengthen it up, but I think it's gonna be plenty. I'm an idiot. I'm gonna have to pull that whole hanger off to pull the bolt out. Oh, super sorry about that. My phone overheated apparently. But what I did was dropped it down, pulled this out, and again, I had to, in order to be able to drill this hole out straight, I had to pull this out. You can see how it's a direct interference. But in order to pull this off, the bolt was actually coming this direction through that mount. And so I had to pull the whole thing off, pull the bolt out. But this time around, I actually put the bolt this way and the nut on the inside. That way, when I need to replace this again, I don't have to take the whole mount off. So I'll leave these off for now. When we're in final assembly, we'll put those last bolts in, but it's been holding for a year like this, so I'm pretty sure it's not gonna have any issues. Alrighty, everything is off and ready to go. I got a friend coming over and he's gonna help me push this up on the car hauler trailer that I've got up there. There he is. So I got this stuff from KBS. This is what the auto body shop recommended that's gonna do the paint job on it. Oh, look at that. They sent me a little bag. Not sure if I'll ever use that, but that's pretty cool. So it's a full kit. Your pre-paint primer. This is for, I'll show you what that is. This is called a cavity coater. And you put this on, and then basically you pull it through any cavities that you can't get in and actually paint. Looks like it came with a squirt bottle, more cavity coater. I want to say that this whole kit was 170 bucks, somewhere in that ballpark. Just a bunch of garbage here. More packing material. Okay. Oh, okay, here we go. Cleaner degreaser, pre-paint primer. And then this is the canned stuff here. I don't necessarily know if I need both of them. One of these is supposed to do a frame, but I decided to get two. Better safe than sorry. Because my time is so limited, I hate to get halfway through and then have to come back a week later because I ran out and I had to order stuff in. Anyway, so this is what comes with it. Seems like not a lot for 178 bucks, but I'm hoping that this is the solution to all my problems. Before we were talking about doing maybe Pour 15 or there's like a lanolin coating, but when these guys suggested this, and they're known for doing some pretty cool custom cars in the area, I said, well, I better do what the professionals say. So that's what we're gonna do. By restoring the frame myself, it's saving me about 5,000 bucks is what they quoted me, which seemed a little bit steep. I'm sure it's just because they didn't want to do it. And those guys do such a immaculate job. I've seen their work. They're probably more perfectionists than I am. So once we get that back from the sandblaster, we'll put this stuff on there and then we'll keep moving forward. Alrighty, we're en route. We're going to Ace Powder Coating in Idaho Falls. Might be a Shelly address, I don't really know. But we're on our way. Alrighty, we are here. Ace Powder Coating. I just got it back in the shop here. I could not be happier with how this turned out. This metal has not seen the light of day in 50 years. They did a great job. I can basically paint the KBS right in here. I was going to replace these, but I don't think I have to anymore. It looks really, really good. So that'll be the next thing we get working on. We'll take it out and blow all this sand out. This is going to be a long, boring process, so I'm just going to time lapse all of this. The first step, according to the directions, is we've got to use this cleaner degreaser. And I'm just going to empty out this Windex bottle and spray it in there. Degrease everything, clean it really well. And then the next step is this pre-paint primer. It's kind of like a self-etching primer from what it looks like. And on a clean surface, like the one we're using, we only have to keep it wet for about 15 or 20 minutes. So we'll continue to spray it on with this squirter. We'll go on here, spray it on, keep the entire surface wet for 15 or 20 minutes. That'll allow it to etch like it needs to. I might allow a little bit more time with these. Clean degrease it, put the spray on primer, and then after that, we will paint it with that KBS rust seal, which is this stuff. I opted for the satin black. I didn't want to go with the gloss black. I just think gloss shows absolutely everything. And the frame's obviously not perfect. I mean, it's definitely got pitting from the rust, and you can see the surface isn't absolutely immaculate. So for us, where we're not priming it, we're going to go right over top. I think the satin's going to be the best looking one. I just pushed it back in after getting done pressure washing. You can see how it's already flash rusting. That's okay though. It's supposed to paint over this kind of stuff. So now I think we're ready to let it dry out for a couple days, and then we'll go ahead and paint it. It's super late. This ended up being a big project. I'll tell you a little bit about it. So you can see I got this all over my skin, and this is not gonna come off easy. It's gonna take a lot of lacquer thinner or acetone or something. Overall, I think I'm really happy with how the KBS turned out. You can still see it's curing, and so it's shiny in some spots and dull in other spots. This is a semi-gloss, so it's gonna dull out a little bit from what it is right now. The time lapse was from the first coat, and then I came back a little bit later and put the second coat on. I covered this totally. I know I won't see it, but I just want a fresh slate and everything to be super clean. The leaf springs, we'll see how those dry out. I'm still hoping that they look decent enough and we don't have to clean them, or excuse me, replace them. A couple things I learned. If you're gonna do the KBS, the primer stuff, it dries super, super fast, and you're supposed to keep it wet. It dries really fast, so the squirt bottle does not do it. I would recommend like a pump-up sprayer or something along those lines to keep it wet, and then you're supposed to rinse it off with a hose. The primer dried on there, so I ended up having a pressure wash, which then made it flash rust on me. But that's okay, the KBS can be painted over the flash rust. The other thing I would recommend is do this when it's a little bit cooler. The first coat, it was warmer today, about 85 degrees. The first coat went on okay, but it was getting sticky really fast, not wanting to spread out super nicely. The second coat tonight, which could be because it was going over the first coat, but I did feel like it stayed liquid a little bit longer and gave a little bit more working time. So right now I would say it's probably 70 degrees. So there's a little tidbit. If you can do it when it's a little bit cooler, I think this stuff will lay down a lot nicer. Another thing I learned, these brushes that it comes with, this style here, they leave a lot of bristles. So if you look close, you can see one right here, little bristle in the paint. Luckily it's a frame. I'm not that crazy worried about it. And it's not gonna be show car where they're putting the mirrors underneath, but I will say it's a little bit annoying. So maybe get a higher quality brush. You're gonna need a whole box of these gloves here. I like the 9mm from Harbor Freight. I feel like they hold up really well and don't rip. And get a ton of these. Like the kit came with 2. I think I've used 9 or 10 of them, 3 or 4 bags of these. The reason being is once they start getting sticky, then I just throw them away. You see there's a bunch in the garbage here. Anyway, so that's my tidbit from a first-time user. I definitely think if you're considering sandblasting or not sandblasting, do it, because it made the whole cleaning, everything go so fast and smooth, and it looked good, and you feel confident because it's pretty clean metal. All this under here was pretty tricky. It took some time. And the amount, I will say, I used more than expected. So I thought, based on another video, I would only use maybe one of these. I used 2.5 cans. I had to run to the store and buy another one. I actually bought 4 cans total. I bought 2 more when I went to the store earlier. I spilled 1 cup over here and used what I could, but this frame soaked it up. So I ended up using 2.5 cans, which is okay because I'm gonna use this on a bunch of the smaller pieces. The radiator support, the inner fender wells, those are all gonna get the KBS, and it's gonna look super clean. I'm really excited. In the next video, you're gonna see me put the wheels back on. I have new shocks coming, so fresh KYB, I think they're called KYB gas adjust shocks. put the wheels on, get those on. Once this is secured, put the gas tank back in, run the emergency brake lines again. And then I'm hoping to clean the motor, and I've got head cover, valve covers coming. I've got Flowtech long tube headers, and those are going to be interesting. I am hoping that they work. I read on the forums that they do work, so we'll actually probably drop the motor down in, fit those Flowtechs, make sure everything's right, and if we have time, maybe even run and have the exhaust done before it goes to the body shop. So I'm going to try to get as much done before it goes to the body shop as possible. That way when they roll it back this middle of this winter or early this spring, I'm just in reassembly mode. Do the interior, put everything together, and basically be ready to drive it as soon as the weather turns. I know the videos haven't been coming out that fast, but you know, I'm not a YouTuber. I'm just documenting my process here for posterity's sake, for lack of a better term. And hopefully my family can watch and follow along, because this has definitely been in the family since the beginning of time, essentially. So super thanks for watching. I've had a lot of people watching it. Some people have commented and given me a couple good suggestions. Again, if anybody has any experience with a TKO or TKX transmission, I'd really like to know where the shifter comes up out of the floor. I think I'm okay spending the money. It's about $2,500, but I think it's going to increase the drivability a ton. So I'm interested to know where that shifter will come up out of the floor, because I just don't want to cut into the floorboards at all and do anything crazy like that. So wish me luck. I feel more confident at the end of this video than I did last time, mostly because I'm committed to turning that over to the body shop and having them do all the rust repair and getting this all taken care of. It's just extremely daunting to try to figure out how to do that, and I've never done it before, and I really want it to look good. So just committing to them doing it has taken a ton of worry and pressure off my plate, and it's going to get this done a lot sooner. The original goal was to have this driving by the end of 2025. I'm hoping I'm driving it the summer of 2025. So wish me luck. Thanks for watching.